So what I just wanted to really talk about was, what is research governance and how can we make it easier? And I suppose when it comes to, I'm talking about from a local hospice. I work in St. Francis Hospice and I'm on the Research Ethics Committee. And I suppose our role is to ensure that the research practices that are carried out in our hospices are in keeping with the ethos of the hospice. But I suppose everybody who's made an ethics application understands the hurdles that go with that, and there are possibilities of making that easier. And so I just want to say a few things, a couple of thoughts really on being a member of an ethics committee. So in St. Francis Hospice, we meet 4 times a year and we have a good representation of all the interdisciplinary groups, and there are 9 of us on the committee, and it's quite a big work. It's a lot of work. We in between last meeting and this meeting that we'll have next week, we had 7 new applications for ethical review. And as Kevin pointed out earlier, we have the challenge around trying to decide, are they quality improvement, are they service evaluations, are they clinical audits, and quite often they're a combination of all 3, and they're not pure research, but they have pieces of research. And so we then, as an ethics committee, are left evaluating these, and that is quite a lot of work and a lot of time, and we have to decide, where are we going with this? Moving forward, we need to really think about this. We also then have the added pressure on us in that we have timelines that we're trying to facilitate, particularly for students who are studying for masters. And unfortunately, sometimes the academic review in the universities do not coincide with the hospice review. So people are going for multiple reviews of the same projects. And I think this is something, and while we have a senior management team that may approve a quality initiative or an audit, for publication purposes, ethical approval is required. So that's why an awful lot of these applications end up coming to us for review. So I suppose, as I've said, the role of the local Research Ethics Committee is really to ensure that processes are carried out and that they are within the ethos of our organisation. And I suppose one other big thing we have to think about is protection of our staff, patients and our organisation, to ensure that, we're happy that what we're asking staff, patients and the organisation as a whole to participate in is they're protected, and that the work that's carried out is rigid. And Cassia made a really good point earlier about not being a researcher, working as a clinician, but then through working with the academics, learning more about the methodological issues. And, from an ethics review committee in a hospice, we have a very varied experience of research methodologies and experience of carrying out research. So it's important that we can kind of look at these applications from everybody's point of view, so we try and see what's most appropriate for our organisation. And I think that what's really important is that the voices are heard in research. Often in our ethics committee, what we find we are least asked to review are ethics applications including patients and patients' voices. And that's because ethics review is very hard to get. Ethics approval, rather, is very hard to get when you're including patients. And I think Professor Fall mentioned that as well, or Cassia maybe it was, that we leave patients out because it's just another hurdle to get that ethics approval. So we have to find some way of making that easier. And then, from the point of view of being a local ethics committee, we have to work with other groups, we have to work with universities, we have to work with funders. And, we often are reviewing ethics applications that have already been approved by UCD, Trinity, and they're coming to us then, and then we have to look and see, well, what else do we want to know about this study? Again, from the point of view of protecting our staff, patients and organisation. But I also think there's a lot of duplication there for applicants, and again, we're going to hear from other speakers about how we can make that easier. And, from our own perspective, we've taken out the the indemnity, our risk manager people look at that, and GDPR, we have our human resource people, there's applications, they look through all of that now, whereas before we were trying to muddle our way through all of that wasn't really within our expertise at all. And I suppose the important piece then is, in being part of an ethics committee, is that we're really supporting the research priorities in palliative care, and that we as hospices should be having a really strong voice in what sort of research is carried out in palliative care and in our own hospices. So there are just a couple of thoughts. I have the pleasure now of introducing two speakers, and unfortunately Gurmal Bachu is not able to be with us today, but he is the Senior Research Governance Manager for Marie Curie UK, and we are going to show his presentation now. Thank you.